Hey, what's going on, everybody? Buddy E-bikeguy here, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a pro tip for a subscriber that actually emailed me, but I never got a chance to demonstrate it. So I do have a Stator right here. Also, I want to talk to you about this battery, and I have another project going on. This is a Swing Stingray that I have. I built for a customer. This is a second one, so we had two of them total. This one's going to have the same battery, but instead of a 72530, we're going to go with a 72680, and we got to, finish up the wiring. We got to figure out, welding up the some brackets to sit the battery on, and take it to Royce, my boy Royce, and see if he can help me with the welder. Or if I have the money, I'm probably only going to use my generator, put it on 240, and hopefully I can weld it myself. So that's what I really want to do, But anyways, so that's what we're going right here. He does have the all-scaped or black cat tires on it, and I think I'm gonna keep those tires on now. We're going to figure out a way for the tire not to hit the fender. We're gonna figure it out soon, probably tomorrow, and that's about it. Oh yeah, also we're gonna be going up with some double brakes up front, so there's gonna be some dual brakes. I already installed the rotor on both sides, so we're gonna be taking care of that as well. I think that's about it for this e-bike, and stay tuned for a ride video on this one. It's probably gonna be a little bit more powerful than the one that I did a long time ago with the 72530, because it's running a 680 controller, so it's gonna be a little more powerful. So with that being said, we're gonna go back over here. We're gonna do the Stator last. We're gonna be talking about this battery. Now here is a battery that was brought to me by a customer. He said, Tommy, the battery won't come on no more. So you press the power button, you test it, no indicator light, nothing whatsoever. I tested through the voltmeter, reading 0 volts. Tested from the battery. This is a crossover, by the way. So that's a crossover going on to the other side, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. But we tested from the battery, which is right here. This is negative, to the positive on the XT90. We were showing 53 volts, which is pretty low for a 72 volt. And this is a 72 volt 20 amp hour battery. I have no idea what the cells are. These are 21700 cells. They kind of mimic like the Samsung 30Q cells, but I couldn't verify that. But anyway, so what happened was the BMS. So this is the main thing we're gonna be talking about, the BMS right here. So this what came on. This is a Vevor battery, DIY 500M. Maybe saying might be built by a third party. But anyways, the protection of these BMSs, I have no idea what's up with these people putting these defective BMSs in these batteries. So the customer wanted to extract more power out of it and end up burning through the nickel strip. So these are very skinny nickel strips. They can see right here that is burnt up. Even though we tried to repair it, it was still reading, 50, it said 59 volts. But when I tried to do each parallel group, when I tested it, this right here was reading, me no volts. So from here to here, reading no volts. Here was reading 3.8. I think right up in here was reading 3.6. Even the damaged cell was reading voltage, but the ones down here was reading no voltage. So I called the customer and told him, saying the battery's no good. I got it here so y'all can see. I'm gonna get rid of this battery properly, and this is, I might take it apart, get rid of it that way. But the thing about these BMSs, when the customer was trying to extract more amps out of this BMS is built to protect this from happening. You know what I'm talking about? This BMS was supposed to protect this from happening. I mean, it's got to be no more than a 30 amp or maybe a 28 amp battery, with the cells that's in it and with the nickel strip. This is pure nickel, but at the same time, the BMS is supposed to protect all this. He wouldn't be going through this if the BMS was doing its job. You know what I mean? Now, I've been through this. I've been through this already 3 years ago when I started this stuff. When I was bypassing these BMSs, and I was experiencing the same thing, burning up nickel strips. So the batteries are designed to handle a certain amount of currents, but not high currents. I had a battery like this on a 200 amp controller, and I was going through this, the same thing. What happened was I researched the cells and I put copper wire on top, and it kind of band-aided, but it wasn't designed to carry that much current. So, 6 months out of the battery I had, I seen a depletion of range. It started to charge up fast. The battery was starting to get hot real fast. So I'm like, no, it's time to get rid of this. So I got rid of the battery. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. I guess we need to do more researches on these BMSs, to protect your investment, man. This is what happens. I know this battery only cost about $150, but at the end of the day, the way inflation is, that's a lot of money. A long time ago, $1,000 or $5,000 was a lot of money. Now $100 is a lot of money. When we can barely make it. So we got to, if you got to run these batteries, you got to run them right. Don't try to put these batteries on a high-powered controller. Just you get what you pay for at the end of the day, man. Just, you want to sell it to somebody, get you a new, save us some money, get you a better battery so you can be more efficient and run your battery with a proper, your proper battery with the proper controller. Okay, guys. So that's how I just wanted to show y'all this, that I was, was going to try to fix it, and at the end of the day, might as well build another battery. You know what I mean? So I ain't gonna go through that. So I got a subscriber that wanted me to show him about knocking these bearings out. So these come, they come with a bearing that's on the axle. This is a QS273 Stator. Okay, and I have a screwdriver, one of these screwdrivers / pry bar type screwdriver, flathead, or and so on the other side there's a bearing. So this is a small bearing, this is a small end of the bearing. Now on the other side come with a bigger end, like this. So this is a small end, this is a much bigger end. So as you can see, they're a little bit thinner. Oh, that one's rolling away from me. But if you turn them on the side, the big end is a little bit thinner than the small one. It's more fatter. The small one apparently goes on this side, where this is where the freewheel screws on at. Okay, and then on this side, the big end goes right here, and this is where the phase cable go through. I can't put it in now, but I'm gonna show you. Now I'm by myself. I'm gonna show you how to knock these out. Now he wanted to know how to get these bearings out without messing something up. How I do it? Okay, how I do it? I take my little screwdriver. Get the biggest ones you can. You get in there, right in there, and you want to tap. Okay, you want to tap in there. Now what's going to happen is bearing's not really pressed on. It's not pressed on, guys. So you can tap this out with a screwdriver. Now once you get it further out, you want to come on this end, if you can. Okay, see how I got it right there? And you want to kind of tap it. Now once you tap it, it's going to scoot out. Okay, it's going to scoot out. Now don't do it on one end. You want to rotate it. Now you want to rotate on this end. You want to rotate it. Okay, just like that. Rotate it, and you want to go around, tap it. Keep going around, tap it. Do this on this side and the other side too, and then eventually that bearing is going to come out. It's not going to take much force. It's on there, but it's not going to take much force to get this bearing out. Okay, and then once you get the bearing out, then you can do your work with the phase cables and all this stuff. And then when you tap it in, this is how you're going to tap it in. Now you can tap it in. Now I use a socket or something. Hold on. Let me show you something. This is the pole man way. There's other techniques of doing this, but this is but don't call it. I guess you can call it what you want. You can call it backyard hat, garage hat. I guess you can say that. But I take a socket and come right about right there. You're not going to destroy the seal, but you want to come right about there. You want to tap that in. Tap it in. Tap it in. Go on all four corners. Tap it in just like that. Okay. All right. And then you want to use, don't use a dead blow. You want to use a decent hammer. Okay. Also, to protect your Stator, you can have this on like some towel or a blanket, foam, whatever you want, so that way you don't destroy it. Also, the Hall sensors, you want to do this with the Hall sensor facing up. You don't want them having, down like that. Now this is a good Stator. This is a good Stator. But you don't want to have them down like that because you might can damage the Hall sensors, okay? So you want to have that bad boy up, and then you can tap away. You know what I'm saying? If you got a bigger one of these, use it. But like I say, you want to get in here, right in the middle of the stator support, get right in there, and tap it with the hammer. You know what I'm saying? Tap with the hammer. You can't do it like that, but you definitely gonna do it like that, and you can tap it up with the hammer. You know what I mean? It's very tedious. It's very tedious. And you can possibly ruin the seal if you don't hit it right. But you want to hit it right in that corner. Okay, so that's how I do it. You know what I mean? Or if you have a bigger one, like I say, let me show you. I think I got a bigger one in here. If you have a bigger one, let me see. So you can get your little hammer right there, and you probably can tap that away. Let me see if I got one here. That's a smaller one. Or yeah, you can use one of these right here. Boom. You got one of these. This is an idea right here. So if you have one of these, you can go in there just like that and tap it. Okay. You can tap it and you can hit it. You can hit it right here. I want to show you because let me get a person out here to demonstrate. Okay. All right. So we're going to take a little hammer. And we're going to try to just tap it right here. You gotta hold it. And it should kind of come off. Is it moving? Mm-hmm. It's moving, ain't it? See that? There we go. It's moving.
The other side moved off already.
I know, but I'm trying to get this off. Let me see. Let's hit it a little bit. There we go. And then we're gonna tap it like that.
No, it's not moving.
Okay. Well, it should come off. Let me see. Let's do that. There we go. All right, see though? Now, this is not stuck, but she can probably pull that off though. But anyway, so the bearing came off. I think this is a little bit better. Let me, yeah. You can't put it off? Okay. Well, it'll come off. It's gotta just kind of wiggle off. Let me lay it down. Let me lay it down right quick. Yeah, that one's already off though. Just hold it. Let me just hit it from right here. Yeah, hold the axle. Yeah, like that. There we go. Just tap it. Tap the other side. There we go. All right. Thank you so much. You all right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, my bad, y'all. So I was just trying to demonstrate how to get this bearing off. There's a lot of ways to get it off. Just showing y'all a few. But I guess this fork is wide enough to go right in the axle a little bit. And you can just kind of get in there and get that, send that bearing out. All right, so that's what I wanted to show y'all about this battery and how to get that bearing off. This is, a request from my subscriber, email me, and I just, emailed me days ago, and I just forgot about it, But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed that video. There's a little tech tips, or, some of those haters call it a hack, but I don't care. Anyways, that's how you get that bearing out, and I'll see y'all later.